I painted a few days already in May, but I hadn't filmed those sessions for some reason, so by this point, we figured out the legs and the back tile wall and added in details like the taps near her feet and the shampoo bottle. There was quite a few days in the month of May that I didn't film my painting progress, so a lot of this footage jumps quite a bit more than the previous 2 episodes. By the time May hit, the stay-at-home order was still in effect, so I had to start using my only small brush, and it was a really shitty, cheap one. It barely made it through this painting before I had to throw it out. After about 15 to 20 minutes of fussing with her face, I went in with my white pen to redraw her face and see if I can figure out where I'm going wrong. Sometimes drawing something in pencil or pen helps me get more accurate proportions and sizing. Her nose was a little too long, which elongated her whole face and was making her look more like Christina Aguilera than Marilyn. I spent over an hour working on her face, and by the end felt like I was a little closer to where I needed to be. It took a few more days of working on her face before I felt she was complete. On this day, I worked on finishing the edges of the tub. I turned the painting over to work at it from a different perspective and to make sure that the sides of the tub were at the proper angles. I finished off the session by doing the small highlight details with my white pen, as I didn't have a good enough small brush to be able to do the lines thin enough. Up until this point, I had avoided doing the bubbles and I saved them for last. I'd never really done a bubble texture before, and so I wasn't exactly sure how to go about it, and from the beginning I thought it might be cool to try a different technique. I've seen this bubble technique done on different types of paper, but never on canvas, and despite my efforts I couldn't find anyone that had tried it already, so the only choice I had was to give it a shot myself and see how it goes. I started out by making white bubbles using water, hand soap, and white paint, and placing that across the canvas. Okay, so this did not work out well. Not all of it is dry just yet. There's still a bunch here and over here. There might be something going on here. I think the bubbles did leave a little bit of a sort of a kind of a texture, but not what I was going for. And as you can see, it really brought out this pink. I think that's the red marker. And it turned it like neon pink. Like, it's not nearly as bright on camera as it is in real life. So I think it's safe to say that this was kind of a fail. A really neat idea. If I could make this like a 3D thing, it would have been very cool to be able to do that. But not all hope is lost. I'm gonna try one more thing, see if it works. And if not, like, it really brought out the red, like straight through the painting. Because that was like underneath all the paint. It was like the red lines were very covered. That's very interesting. Worst case scenario, I just have to really paint them in. Next, I whipped up a purple mixture instead, as I thought maybe the issue was that the white on white wasn't going to show the texture properly. I learned from the last time and started out with a spot test. Okay, so it's dried now, and this is more the texture that I was looking for. It's much closer to what I wanted, so I think it's a little too dark, but we're gonna go with it. Success! I began placing the mixture across the bottom half of the painting. Okay, so I let this dry for like an hour, but as you can see, I'll use my brush. You can see all this black, like these dark stuff that's settled here, and it just comes right off, and there's no texture like what I was going for. So again, this was a fail, even though this side didn't, like this didn't do that. So I don't know why this one did. I don't understand what I'm doing wrong here. There must be something specific I'm not doing right. I was really hoping this would go okay. I mean, there is some texture, as you can see here. However, there's not some here, but not what I was envisioning. So it's a bit of a shame. I've spent all day today doing this, and it didn't really work out the way I hoped it would, so I think I'm gonna call it a day. I got some texture, but definitely not what I was envisioning. I'm disappointed. So I think I'm going to clean up for the day. And just tomorrow, just sit down and try to paint something that kind of resembles bubbles by hand. I probably won't do each individual bubble, but I'll try to make something out of this. I can't just leave it, right? So yeah, it's not done today like planned, but kind of close, I guess. I started out this session by redoing the bottom tiles a bit, as I ended up finding another version of the picture that has the bottom showing a lot more. Turns out my version wasn't too far off, but it didn't look as nice as the original picture, so I fixed it to match. I then went in and started painting the shadows of the bubbles, which was a process that took about an hour. A good majority of the footage from the last 3 days or so of working on this piece is pretty useless. You either can't see what I'm doing well because the angle was bad, or you can't see anything at all because I'm literally in the way. There was whole sections of footage where the focus was on me because I was closest to the camera and not on the piece. I felt very frustrated when editing because so much of the satisfying finishing touches can't be seen. I've definitely learned a lot from this painting project, and I'll be sure to do a few things different in my next painting making of video. The bubbles looked more like clouds at this point, which was super cute, but obviously not what we're aiming for with this one. So the next day, I spent another hour dotting in the bubble texture details. I went in with my ink pen to draw in a few bubbles by hand to give some areas a little extra soapy, bubbly detail and help add to the overall look. I plan on getting shots of the finished piece in video form, but unfortunately I forgot to do that until literally the day it was supposed to be picked up, and then I ran out of time to get the shots that I wanted, so all I have is pictures. I'll be more careful of that in future videos. If you enjoyed this series, feel free to sub to my main YouTube channel where I make videos about my hobbies and my life, including art-related videos and series like this one. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.